and been afraid, and done all sorts of daft things, then they are there should you call for help or should you ask for guidance. But the guide thing is, I prefer the word teacher, because that way a teacher will offer you information, but they will leave it to you to get it right or wrong. So do we all have guides? Absolutely, in the sense that whatever you are, spiritualist, however you see yourself, you all have this function, this primary function that is there to care for you. And throughout the 70s, I learned about this. I learned harshly sometimes, and I learned joyfully all the while. And bit by bit, I began to establish a recognition of why I was out, what I was there for. And it ties up very much with that boy dying in the car. And I think it very much ties up with me now and with what I do and the books I write. Because the books I write, they're all triggered. They're all triggered by what has happened. The whole chapter in The Lighthouse Keepers, where Charles D'Angelo, the angel, takes Daisy to show her parallel worlds and parallel lives. He shows her a doll's house. And in the doll's house, she is shown rooms and life upon life upon life upon life. That was shown to me. Out of body one day, and my tutor, always here. Got something to show you, Dodie. And as I watched, this doll's house grew. Beautiful thing, huge, with the doors closed first. Doors closed, very beautiful, old-fashioned doll's house. And there was a little pond around the front of it, and a green grass round. And then the doors opened. And within the doll's house there was. I'll put you up a drawing. I think I've already done it, but I'll put it up again, of the drawing of what I made of it, of shelf after shelf after shelf, of moons and planets and stars, and of people and of animals and things, and all moving. So I was watching this doll's house, and there was all this life being bought and born and dying and going, and it was extraordinary. And I was so bubbling over, and he kept saying, wait, wait, wait. And then my vision kind of stepped back to, I was looking at the whole, and it became picky. And I noticed that round the pool, there was a green edging, but some of the green edging had dropped away, broken away. And as I looked closer, I could see it was made of the perishing stuff that sticks together. The children's things that all still, and a kind of jigsaw made up. And it was just falling over the side. And as I noticed, if you like, the mistake, so a hand came out of the water in the pond and just tidied the stuff away. And my guardian said, whose hand was that? And then woke me up. This is the kind of thing that can happen, that does happen, that is happening all the while for human beings. This overlooking of evolution, of trying to move you forward, and all the outer body is a kind of species of that. It's a way of finding another bit of you and the consciousness of you and the way you can use it. During the 80s, my mother became very ill, and I was able to visit her, even though she was in Warwickshire in Rugby and I was in Essex, in Rayleigh. And I would visit her every night because I couldn't stop. My consciousness knew that she was ill, so I would roll out of bed, stand up, walk round the bed, jump through the window, and always find myself in the hospital. And I would be at the end of the ward, and I would be walking just as if I'm on the ground, and I would walk down the ward, and I would sit with her. I don't think that in any of the time, I can't recollect her ever in those moments seeing me. However, one time I went, and there were two people sitting, but one was standing by her and the other was sitting on the bed. The man was standing and the woman was sitting on the bed. The woman was turning away from me and the man was kind of turning more towards me. And so I just potted up to the bed and they said, hello. I was, oh, you can see me. And he said, yeah, of course. And I didn't, it shocked me so much. I don't think I asked, who are you or whatever. I just was shocked so much that I was on, if you like, some kind of wavelength with them, that I think it sent me back to my body. But I remember very, 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 very clearly their faces. And later, after my mother had died, in going through her belongings with my sister Jenny, found loads and loads of photographs. And I found who those two people were. And one was my aunt that had passed on. And the other, the young man, the beautiful young man, was a man who, a cousin of mine, who'd killed himself. They were there with my mother, which gave me, oh gosh, you know, so much thought about where does this go. It's just an aspect, a small sliver of the worlds that intertwine. People say to me, can you meet those gone? Yeah. Yeah. In sleep states, in any kind of sleep state, there is a place that I tend to think of, it's a wrong title, I tend to think of it as no man's land, a place between life and death, like a field, you know, and it always makes me think of the First World War, when at Christmas time, there was this temporary cease of activities and where a German started singing a carol and one of the Englishmen in his dugout started, and how they joined one another in this extraordinary moment before going back to kill one another again. A no man's land, a kind of space between life and death, but not with that kind of tragic overtone, rather no overtone, just a place where you can put your dreams of who you want to meet and where those that have gone before can put their dreams of who they want to meet. I've met my father there. In a strange scenario, because we are extraordinary people. I mean, human life, good God, the things we do, the way we jumble ourselves up, the way we wrap our fears and our guilts and our joys, whatever. But I met him in a room full of mirrors. That was my no man's land. I was out of body, and then there was just this room filled with mirrors, and all very Freudian. And I walked through, and there was this lovely old dressing table with a mirror. I sat down there and shimmered, and there was my dad, smiling at me from the mirror. My dad, but a younger dad, a happier dad. And he said, "You took your time." And I thought, yes, I did. So there is this world, this interim world, this place where all things are possible. And if and when you have reached a point within your journeys where you feel able to do this, and equally, because this is a sharing thing, people who are no longer in that body feel able to share their consciousness with you, then there is a possibility of meeting.